Hi everybody, George here from the WRX Property Group. I'm sitting down with Annie Doran from the King Street East Neighborhood Association.
King East Neighborhood Association.
King East Neighborhood Association. How are you doing today?
I'm doing okay. A little tired, but doing well.
Yeah, glad to hear. So tell me a little bit about the King East Neighborhood.
So it definitely has some of the older houses in the area.
Okay.
Like for instance, my house is an 1830 build,
Okay.
and then as you go further, I guess Kitchener East, the further east you go, the newer it is.
Okay.
It used to all kind of be like apple orchard kind of farms. And if you're actually interested in some more history, I have a sheet from my neighbors. They did research into like where their house was and like who had bought it and all that. And so there was. So we're on Edie Street right now, and so they were on their house is on Cameron, and one of the people who had bought it for developing areas was Edie, and so yeah, there's
fantastic.
a lot of that kind of like old town history in there.
Nice. So the information sheet, is it online somewhere or?
It is on my phone right
on
now.
your phone?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, if you send that over to
I
me,
can
I'll
send that to
upload it.
you.
Excellent. So tell me a little bit about the history of the association, formation, and.
So we are King East Neighborhood Association has started up a couple of times throughout the history. We're the latest iteration of it, and we started up 2.5 years ago, and it actually evolved out of, we have this neighborhood potluck on Duke Street. Every Wednesday there is a potluck on Duke Street. All neighbors are welcome. They open up their neighborhood, like they open up their home to anybody. And you come in, you share a meal, you meet your neighbors. It's very informal, great way to talk. And so I met another neighbor named Karen, and Karen and I started talking about, well, people have these ideas about what they want, or, we need a safe street crossing, or, and so like, well, we should, work on forming a neighborhood association. And so I made a great friend out of that, and we started the very busy job of starting up the neighborhood association. But it was it was really great because all the kind of foundation, the talking was already there, and so this was our way to get all of that great connection together so that we could work on bigger issues and bigger projects, and work on making sure that everybody gets information about what's going on.
Awesome. So how many members are there currently?
Our board has 6 people on it. 6 people. I think. Yes, it's only 6 now. And then anybody can be a part of the neighborhood association as long as you're within the bounds, as long as you live within. So currently our neighborhood association goes from Cedar to Ottawa, and it's between King and Weber.
Okay.
And so as long as you live within those bounds, or you own a business within those bounds, you can be. You're considered a part of the neighborhood association.
Okay.
So it's a very informal kind of membership. And we are going to we're revising our bylaws to actually move that line up to Scott Street.
Okay.
Because there's this whole like residential block that's, kind of like, hey, I'd like to come meet with you guys. So,
Awesome.
yeah.
So how does one become a part of the association then? You said membership is kind of pretty much open to anybody, but...
It's less about being kind of like a part of it and more of being like, if you want to, you can sign up for like emails from the association. We drop off newsletters quarterly to the houses. Every house, I think we have about 600 households, not including all the apartments in some of the apartment buildings. And then beyond that, it's people will volunteer to work on like street parties or work on certain issues or stuff, and so they just contact us and then they come out, and so yeah, it's mostly if anybody can come out to like our meetings and join in. The only really super formal structuring part of it is just the board, because somebody has to kind of be the one who's in charge of like maintaining philosophy and making big decisions. So yeah.
That makes sense. And so what are some of the overarching goals of the association? What do you hope to achieve?
It's really about building connections with people. It's really about and getting information out with people. It's the more connections that you have with your neighbors, the more that you understand your neighbors, the happier it's been shown, like the happier it tends to make you, the safer your neighborhood is. And then you start to and so it's like also creating the opportunity to like discover things that you can work on with your neighbors, and how you can kind of design your own neighborhood and work on things that make it relevant to you. And so yeah, it's like, working from the inside with all the assets that you have, and then creating it for the neighborhood. And so the goal is just it's to really just create a sense of belonging and a sense of community for everybody. Yeah.
Awesome. And so, what do you folks do day to day as part of the neighborhood association?
Day to day, I think that varies very widely depending on who you are. My day to day is actually much busier than others' day to day. I have another role in which we're actually doing, which has been sponsored by the United Way, in which we're actually doing active building of community connections and collecting what it is that, like learning what it is from everybody that they love about their neighborhood, or they can do, or like what they can do and interact with their neighbors with, or what they'd be interested in happening. And so and then trying to create groups or clubs, or some kind of skill swap or something out of that. Okay. Apart from that, it's there's been a lot of it's just kind of more of the same kind of connection thing, like talking with your neighbors and keeping them informed. We do and then we work on large projects, which is different depending. Yeah.
So kind of short-term goals, and you have some long-term goals there as well.
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. So why would you say King Street East is a great area to live in?
I would say one of the really cool things is actually how caring our neighbors are, without being super nosy. But so that's really important. On a physical basis, the neighborhood has ease of access to transit and downtown amenities. Mm-hmm. We have the market. We have great coffee shops and bakeries, and we have some great international grocers and stuff like that. And that's it. And that combined with it's walkable to most things, or bikeable, and that combined with the front porches and everything means that people really live in their neighborhood and they interact with each other, rather than kind of coming home and closing everything up and then hiding in their house.
Right. Okay. So for anyone that might be thinking of moving to King Street East or is new to the area, is there anything they should know or keep in mind?
Well, one thing is you're going to be buying an old house. You're going to, if you haven't had an old house yet, you're going to learn an awful lot. Which is, and everybody has an old house, and so there's actually a lot of people who, you get together, people will help each other out with different household projects and stuff. Our neighborhood is, it's really diverse. It's economically diverse. It's socially diverse. It's culturally diverse. It's a great way to stay in touch with more than just kind of your own little clique. You get to interact with people.
Are there any big projects the Neighborhood Association is currently working on? I know you mentioned the United Way.
So yeah, that we're doing that, and it's a program that the United Way is working with neighborhoods. So it's not they're working with us to try to, we were approached about it because we were already starting up this association, and so it was working with what they wanted other neighborhoods to kind of be able to also work on for themselves.
Right.
And so it's their way to, they're helping us out without telling us really how to do it. They're giving us tools and education, and they're giving us some funding. And so it's really nice to have that extra support to put in all the time that it takes to like do the legwork and stuff on that.
Right.
The conversations are amazing. It's great to like sit down and talk with people and learn about
Yeah.
what it is that makes them go. But the other big thing that we're just starting up now, we just had. I don't know if you checked it out at all. We just did Porch View Dances, which was a contemporary dance piece that toured through the neighborhood and ended here at the market. And it was, real people dancing in real spaces. And so there was also a lot of like placemaking involved in that, putting up, we put up some bunting and we did some drawing on the streets, and there was like some art, and it was all very fun along with all the dancing and the music. And so what's coming out of that is that, so our neighborhood has this, somebody put down a piece of graffiti in our neighborhood on the road.
Okay.
And it hasn't been cleaned up yet. And so what we did was we all got together and we drew in the road. We got out chalk and we covered it up with art and colored it in and turned it into a piece of art. And then we liked it so much, we're gonna have to do that again. And so from doing this, we're making it a weekly thing to get neighbors together and do that. And from doing this, what's happening is we started the conversation about the placemaking challenge that Kitchener is doing. And so we're working on a grant application right now to do some large scale placemaking on Duke Street.
Cool.
Because even though we don't have our own park or anything within our neighborhood, everybody hangs out in the one-way street. So
okay. Awesome. The safest street, right?
Yeah. And kids play there, and you do the street hockey thing, and
Awesome. That sounds like a great time. Is there anything else important that I've missed that you would like people to know about the King East Neighborhood Association?
I think that I may have covered most of it.
Okay.
Except that, of course, one thing that I've been learning is that our neighborhood really likes kind of getting together and being creative and doing art things. There's a lot of kind of either kind of professional artists or just casual artists, and there's a lot of teachers and professors, and so it's a very there's a lot of acceptance of all kinds of things. It's a very cool space.
Okay, awesome. Sounds like a great place to be. I'll include a link to the Neighborhood Association's website in the article as well. And so if anybody has any questions, you can reach out to Annie from there and anybody else from the association.
All right.
Great.
Well,
thanks so much.
Great, thanks.